Good afternoon, everyone, and to the officers of the PCA. Thank you so much for inviting us, and to the members who are watching right now. Our story began in 1985 when I came back from 5 years work at Saudi Arabia to raise up a little capitalization for the plant construction business. As a sole proprietorship, so I began the business in 1985, and year 2015, when I learned that Kevin is going to work abroad, I was 57 then, and my fear is because of aging and nearing retirement, nobody will fill in my shoes, and might cut construction might be finished when I retire. So I told Kevin, let's go and visit Toronto, where you're going to work. So we went to Toronto and made the site visit. And on our way back to Hong Kong, I'd asked him if he can consider working in CAD construction and eventually to fill in my shoes, because there's no available among the siblings. He's the only one available, and I know that he's capable enough to run the business. So I told him, I'm going to give you 1 week to decide before you accept that job in Toronto. So I'm so happy when he decided to be with the company. That's why we thought of having it as from sole proprietorship to a corporation.
Yeah, actually, I remember that time. I was supposed just for to share to everyone. My journey wasn't as planned as you know. I started off my career having graduated with a bachelor's degree in ECE or electronics engineer. I started off in the IT industry without actually thinking much about going back to the family business. So, like my dad said, it was 2015. It was sort of a crossroad because he gave me a question that's really hard to answer. Uh, is it to continue my career currently as a business analyst working in Canada, or join the family business and continue what he started? It was a tough decision because I was already building my name or my career in that field in IT, specifically in IT. But then a few things that came into my mind. First thing is what will happen to the workers, to the people that we employ in the company. Before actually working for another company when I graduated, I was immersed also as part of my, it's a family internship. I was tasked by my dad while waiting for the boards. I was tasked by my dad. I would remember that project. It was a chapel in La Union. It was a very, very small project. And I had to drive 2 to 3 hours from Pangasinan to La Union about 3 times a week. At that time siguro parang ano lang yun parang para lang may magawa ko while waiting for the board exam. But little did I know that I started to develop a sort of care also for the people that have been working with us or for us and with us for the past 30 plus years. So one of the main reasons why I decided to join and go back to the family business are these people actually. At the same time, one of my fears, that's why I wasn't 100% at the onset, is what's gonna happen to my ambition. No? As the name writes, it's CAD, it's Carlite Adion written all over. But then when I got over that fear or that question or doubt in my mind, uh, I found a purpose that is bigger than myself. Like I said, at first I was thinking about our employees, but more than that, throughout my my immersion in the project with our workers, with the engineers, and I would like to include also PCA, for showing me that there's much more to do in this industry and how I can transform our company into something that my dad will be proud of me. At the same time, I could also leave a mark and make a name for myself. So in short, that doubt, that fear was already overcame. We already overcame that. And as the topic for tonight, it's about transition, no? So like my dad said, he's good for a few years and then he's giving the keys to me. So maybe what we could discuss also, Daddy or boss or sige, is what are the what are the steps that we took? Siguro we start off from the beginning. Would you remember ano ba yung how did we start transitioning? And then I'll try to recall also.
Well, on the transition side, what we did was I have shown you all the ins and outs of the company as well as the finances, the real status of our finance. So you from there you can do your work. You can plan your work ahead with the financial status that we have, and by letting you know all our business clients and suppliers. That's the thing that we have done.
Yeah, and I also remember other than yung immersion ko on the site where you left me to do my own discarte, I also remember na it was kumbaga parang I had to win, no? I had certain plans that I had to win your trust. There are certain changes that I wanted to employ in the company, but you and my other boss, my mommy, would always challenge me. So I think that also gave me a perspective, a sort of balance of wherein I could do changes in the company, but I should understand based on experience, you should also consider these things. So I guess there's the mentorship part was a daily process for us, even up to this day, even up to the last day that you will serve as the president, no? So I guess for our final words for this session, what do you think is the most important thing that you can impart to me and to probably maybe ako rin later to the other people who are having questions on how they will do this process?
Well, for me, just continue what we've been doing, like a good relationship with our employees. That's one. And let us all be compliant always with all the necessary requirements by the government, in as much as we are more of our projects are from the government, and always do the right thing. And lastly, I value much the CAD construction. I got a lot of sacrifices, as I have said. My capitalization came from the hard work in Saudi Arabia for 5 years, just to put up a little capitalization to have that business. So I'm sure you can do it more bigger than what we have now. And I thank you, Kevin, for that.
Yeah, I also thank you for giving me the opportunity or trusting me to do this. Other than you being an inspiration in my life, I think you've shown the way of how to do things, and to do the right thing sometimes may not be lucrative, but it's much more fulfilling. And maybe if I could give also advice for the young ones like me who are in this, or in a crossroad, or in this process, I think the most important thing is keep an open mind. I know that our generation has a lot of knowledge already, especially in terms of technology. When you compare it to the knowledge that our parents or our parents have, but wisdom is something that we will have to earn as we go along, and that is what they have. And that is what I learned, that no matter how much I want to implement something, I would always seek their advice because they've already gone through it. So I get, yeah. So thank you again to PCA for inviting us, for having time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Dad. So
Hi.
talking about succession, actually, you never asked any of us to take up engineering or to follow your footsteps in the firm.
Yeah, that's right. When you were all growing up, I wanted you to be what you want to be. You pick the courses that you wanted to pick. In fact, your mother wanted you to take a course. I told her you let to take the course that you want, no, and so there's no pressure or dictate from your parents to choose any particular course or that to join the company at a later time. No such thoughts at those times.
So none of us became an engineer. I became a lawyer and also practiced in a big firm. And at some point, you did invite me to join the firm.
Well, that's true. Uh, to tell you the truth, I really watched you work for that company. No, that company worked you very hard. You practically didn't go home. You go home late at night, and you have to leave early in the morning. You practically do not see your son in. So I said that you better work for me. Then you have all the time that you can have within your control. You can take your vacation when you want it. You can do a lot of things if you work for me. And of course, I was hoping that you would work like that also.
And not take vacations. That I remember you, one thing that compelled me was that in the law firm, I was solving other people's problems. And this was an opportunity to help you solve problems, especially in a firm that has kind of allowed us to live our lives as well. During that time, my fear was that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to be in a firm where I wasn't the one bringing in the money, right? I was working in finance, admin, so essentially back office support. But at the same time, I think what made me working for you really gave me some insights into who you are as a boss, not just as a father. And also I saw how to compare you with the bosses then, right? Where your heart was, where your vision was. That really convinced me also to work with you. But at that time, Doc, when did you start thinking about succession? Because at that time I was just there to help, right? When did succession start to come into the picture?
Well, first of all, when you were handling admin and finance, and those are very important positions to me, where you have to have a lot of trust with the persons that are handling that. No, it's very difficult to have just anybody handling finance, uh, for that matter. No, but you did perform those tasks quite well, and in any situations in those in where you are, finance, administration, HR, you actually perform very well. And in the many instances where I ask you to join me, because I wanted to show you engineering, what it is, how it works, how to when you talk with clients, you actually uh, perform quite well in meeting with the clients, in talking with them, in actually doing some of my work when I was there. No, so that actually told me that you are the person that should succeed. No, and we talked and we discussed that, and we said, and that was when I planned the succession. No, and that's what we did, and I'm very happy that we are already aligned in what your role is and what is my role now. No, I say this because all throughout the 10 years that we've been together in the company, uh, I learned quite a lot of things, no? Things that I didn't know before. But from what I've learned, I think I have, this is the best decision that I could have made. You would have been the best choice for the successor.
And I think it was the alignment of values as well that always looked up to you when it comes to integrity, professionalism, and excellence. And also this alignment of roles of you being a visionary, right? And myself as being able to integrate all of that into how we deliver that service. Where do you want to see this journey take us?
Well, we have already planned that journey. No, we want to bring ESCA to greater heights with technology, and not only technology, but new solutions. No, as we have embarked on our new journey, we're talking about collaborative processes. We're talking about integrative processes. So we are putting this together now with the use of technology, and we're very much aligned with that. No, as you said. No, and my role as giving direction, and your role as integrating these things and managing the implementation of these things seems to me quite a good formula, and I'm looking forward that you will be, that we, the company, will be truly successful.
When we started our family, we as parents made the decision to not choose for our children their career paths or profession to eventually join DATEM. They have to individually find out for themselves what their passion is. As for Leslie, she chose to take up architecture at the University of the Philippines. To my surprise, but also to my internal happiness. After graduation, she decided to join one of the leading architectural firms in the country, in IDEA, formerly RMJM. where she honed her technical and managerial skills for 4 years from 2004 to 2008. After 4 years with IDEA, I believe that was the time I suggested to her that she is ready to join DATEM.
Papa mentioned that he was pleasantly surprised when I decided to take up architecture. But truth be told, it wasn't my first career choice. I first wanted to be a scientist because I had a favorite book back then about Thomas Edison, the inventor. But due to my constant and early exposure to the construction industry, my dream soon turned towards architecture. For starters, Papa would drive us around the UP Diliman campus every Sunday, regaling us with stories about his campus life that I couldn't help but wish to be an ISKA someday. Whenever he would drive around the city, he would point out some buildings and explain, "Uy, project namin yan." I think there was some subtle mind conditioning, or maybe it was just natural that his passion for his work emanated so strongly that I couldn't help but aspire for it as well. As for my entry into DATEM, that also wasn't my first choice. I guess at the back of my mind, I knew that that was the path that was expected of me. But I also did not want to enter it when my heart wasn't ready. I guess there was also some sort of mind conditioning from Papa, since he would take me to the office at an early age. And our family attended the Christmas parties, the office blessings, and the company outings. I grew up with the DATEM family. I was immersed in the DATEM culture. It was only inevitable that I also adapted their core values and ethic. My papa's passion for DATEM soon became an aspiration for me.
It was only recently in 2016 that we officially crafted the DATEM Family Constitution to specifically state that the second generation should at least have a minimum of 3 years experience working outside with a prestigious company related to construction for them to be able to hone their skills, gain the necessary expertise and experience for them to effectively apply what they have learned, to develop a network in the industry, and bring added value to the company when they finally decide to join DATEM. We believe that the DATEM managers, the supervisors, the employees, and the workforce will gain our respect and in turn appreciate, accept, and respect what the second generation can bring to DATEM when they join the company. I also believe that Leslie has internalized and learned to live by the core values of integrity, excellence, innovation, and malasakit when she started working for DATEM. More so, I'm proud to say that she was able to fit into DATEM's culture with humility. I didn't ask Leslie to step up when she joined DATEM. She knew what she is getting into. She knew the shoes that she will fill in and the expectations she needs to meet from us, the founders, and from the company. And I believe she has handled herself very well. Well, the greatest fear of the earlier generation is that the second generation in Leslie will not be able to meet my and DATEM's expectations, more so the expectation of the founders and DATEM's management committee.
I think that the greatest fear of everyone who comes next is the fear of comparison. The earlier generation will always be the benchmark, and there is always pressure in trying to live up not just to the earlier generation's expectations, but to live up to everybody's expectations. As soon as I entered DATEM, I knew that every task was a test, and people who meet me already have some assumptions about who I am because of my family name. It used to bother me before when people would call me COO or child of owner because it implies that I am there solely because of my connections. But now I just accept that I cannot please everybody. I need to care less about what other people think of me and focus more on being excellent at every task that I am doing. It is not true that we have got it easy just because we share a family name. Yes, we are privileged to have this opportunity available to us, but it is also our obligation to work even harder to be able to keep that privilege. Every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity an obligation, and every possession a duty.
Informally, the process started when Leslie joined Datem 20 in 2008. She was 26 years old and I was 51 years old at that time. Leslie was under the supervision of one of the founders of Datem, architect Arnold Diazis, who was then the operations manager. She had to experience going through a project as a technical services group head of the East Tower of the One Rockwell Residential Condominium Project from 2008 to 2010. At that time, Leslie decided on her own, without being encouraged, to take up her master's in business administration at the Ateneo Graduate School after her work hours from 2009 to 2010. She was a project manager for the Mine Museum and the Venice Mall and Corporate Center from 2010 to 2012. She performed exceptionally well, meeting quality, time, and cost parameters set by the company. She moved up the organizational structure of Datem as area manager for MegaWorld projects, as business development manager, concurrently as operations manager of Datem Homes, a subsidiary of Datem from 2013 to 2015. And she was able to handle multiple responsibilities for the company without any reservation or questions. And in January 2020, she took up the cudgels of running Datem Homes as president, concurrent with being the business development division head of Datem, and also structuring the design build capabilities of Datem. And in January 2021, she took over the presidency of Datem Incorporated. As the company faces the new challenges of the new normal and what this pandemic brings in this era of digitization.
Technically, the process of succession did start when I formally joined the company. But I think the process of preparation started at my earliest exposure to the Datem community and the Datem family. It took a lifetime of immersion for me in the values and culture of Datem to be able to prepare myself for the journey ahead.
As soon as Leslie joined Datem in 2008, the process began. The critical steps in preparing the second generation are to make sure that she experiences and that she goes through all the aspects of the construction project life cycle, from design, engineering, estimating, pre-planning, implementation, and procurement. That she learns and effectively implement the 5 M's in construction, which is to manage materials, manpower, machinery, and money. To make sure that she is empowered in all the aspects of the construction life cycle. That she has the dedication, the commitment, and the passion for her work, as well as compassion for her people. The executive committee, composed of the partners and the founders, made sure that the succession planning process was effectively formulated. It was well thought of and implemented by the whole organization. Also, the critical steps in preparing the next generation is embodied and defined in the Datam Family Constitution. The Datam Family Constitution was ordained to establish the guidelines and foundation as to how the Datam family will lead and manage the business for the long term. It is developed to help the future generations understand the underlying responsibility of stewardship and deal with the benefits and complexities of a family business. It is our belief that the management of the business must be held separate and distinct from the ownership. Management is based on meritocracy. Ownership is an entitlement. We, the founding fathers, aim to leave a legacy of stewardship for the generations to come. This stewardship involves safeguarding the interests of the various stakeholders of the company, such as the employees, our customers, our partners, our shareholders, but most importantly, the community we operate in. Our mission is to manage the company professionally and with excellence.
As Papa said, the process is never done. Your career path is always a work in progress. You need to find new ways to learn, new ways to improve, and new reasons to push yourself forward. Every day is a new challenge at work. It is about collecting the small wins for yourself and for your team with the objective of using them as building blocks for the bigger picture.
Yes, we can definitely say that the transition is never done. It is always a work in progress. Learning is a continuous process. The core values of integrity, excellence, innovation, and malasakit are the values that the company from the earlier generation to the next generation should espouse, should embody, and they should live in and live out these values.
Whenever there are discussions on succession, I become excited. True. Conversations about succession planning can be complicated, difficult, and sometimes even painful, but definitely necessary. For me and my wife Jean, we have no doubts nor second thoughts that we want to pass the torch to our children, Luigi, Jan Larry, and Jewel. We want them to continue building our legacy and to help twice, thrice more people in the process.
I was still working for IDEA. This started maybe back in 2014. My mom would drop not so subtle hints out of the blue and express her wanting to retire very, very, very soon. I'd laugh it off and tell her she's young. Why hurry, right? After years of obvious parineg, here I am working with both my parents, just not for Wildesena and Associates Inc., our construction company, but for the real estate development arm. I am grateful that finally, after countless conversations and 8,400 miles apart, my very stubborn parents, especially Papa over here, they heard me. They understood what I was saying. I may not be in the construction business, but I am in the business of construction.
Ultimately, we just want our children to be happy and successful in every aspect of their life. The best route we came up with is playing with its strength, interest, and passion. and never dictated what course and school you want. Luigi, being an architect, prefers to be in the real estate. My sons, John Larry and Jewel, both civil engineers, are passionate in construction, and thankfully, it worked out in the end. We can only do so much to prepare the next generation of what's to come their way. Me and Jean have been working hard to pave the way, so when the time comes, they are all ready to accept the rules, mentally and emotionally. The objective is clear, to be the owners at the same time managers. For the company, we put in place all these process and procedures to ensure the company can somehow run the day-to-day operations on its own. This will leave no room for the next generation to explore innovation and possible areas for growth. We're working on a family constitution. We want to iron out everything to leave no room for future disagreements by nurturing healthy relationships. I've been telling them, disagree on ideas or business decisions, but never on money or personal issues. And then, of course, we provide them education and training that they need to be more comfortable with the transitions and mentor and guide them at work. Siyempre, it's not work in the park.
I'm obviously very grateful for all the things my parents have been doing for me and my brothers. But most of all, I'm thankful sa trust niyo sa amin. They believe that we can continue what they've started. Pero syempre, being human, I have my own fears and reservations. I'm scared I won't be as good as my parents. Magaling kasi talaga sila eh. They know what they want, they know what they're doing, and they made sure that they are experts at it. And since they started this from the ground up, I had internal struggles of learning to accept that one day I can be at the helm of the company. Imposter syndrome, kumbaga. I didn't feel that I am worthy of any of it. I didn't like how I felt like I was being handed a silver platter.
I know Wigi's fears are valid, but we never doubted her abilities and capabilities. And this goes the same with her brothers. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, when it comes to the things that scare me, I have two options. I can either face everything and rise, or face everything and run. I always try to choose face everything and rise. I hope they follow my example and always choose to rise instead of run.
Wait lang ah. Whew, naiyak na ako. I know it was never easy for my parents. And unfortunately for them, this whole transition will take a few more years or maybe even longer. Kaya, sorry ma, hindi ka pa pwedeng mag-retire.